Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things to Invest. Talk about investing, finance, fresh development. For today's video, air times only. The investment topic today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, I want to say happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're having a great week so far. With respect to Ethereum, as I'm recording us of 8:57 a.m. on the Eastern Time, currently trading like the $2,337, down about 3.50%. With respect to the media affectation I've been collecting this morning, collectively, I would say we do have a good group of relatively positive news, but obviously some sprinkle of negative news, right? So let's talk about the positive news first, right? So we have a lot of reinforcement news on the London fork debut that's happening next Wednesday on August 4th, right? So obviously with a lot of media coverage on, talking about Ethereum's upgrade set to alter supply and obviously fix the transaction fees and, which will first sustain the long-term value proposition for Ethereum going forward, right? So that's a good positive factor into the market catalyst, right? Also, another positive news that we got is with respect to Coinbase Ventures, which is the venture capital arm of Coinbase. Obviously the crypto exchange website or the platform is currently backing a Ethereum-based streaming network, right? And what this company is Live Peer, right? And they currently raised a 20 million Series B round of funding, right? And they have a collections of relatively, reputable investors, including like Coinbase Ventures, which is obviously the name, Coin Fund, North Zone, Six Men Ventures, and Animal Ventures as well, which is backed by some of the influencers that are popular on TikTok. If you are aware of what that fund does, right? So, also another news that we got collectively, and I would say these are relatively just old news, talking about, with respect to regurgitation on the Tenderfly, raising 15.3 million to help Ethereum developer to ship decentralized apps faster. Obviously, another news on, talk about the improvement of the value proposition for Ethereum going forward. So another great news, right? And then we have a sprinkle of negative news that I see right here, and this is coming from Fortune, the financial publication company. And what they basically talk about is that, and it came out like two hours ago, 3 hours ago, so not too long ago. And the high level read that I capture is basically they talk about, with respect to Amazon's earning came out yesterday, they missed it. And also with respect to inflationary data, it seems like it's waiting on some of the investors' confidence, subsequently drive some sell-off. So obviously, when you hear anything inflation's related or quantitative tightening related, that could subsequently drive some sell-off, right? So that could be one of the elements into driving why we're down about 3.70% right now. But also remember, we have had 8 consecutive days of positive green days so far, right? So today, and also on top of the fact that we did talk about the weekend affectation, so today being a red day is not a surprise. Like I kept, telling you guys, right? And this is, I think the sell-off could still durate a little bit more, despite the red morning that we've had so far on the East Coast, right? And that's pretty much it overall on the news. And then some other regurgitating news about like if you invest $1,000 in Ethereum, what will be your holding, 1 year from now, right? So something along the line. So I'm gonna go through technical analysis again, right, to see with respect to this weekend affectation coming, which is gonna durate from today, starting from 3 p.m. And we are kind of durating already, knowing the fact that it is Saturday for some folks internationally. And how's that going to be playing out ahead of the London fork debut on August 4th, which is on next Wednesday, right? What will be the ideal anticipated pressure coming? How are the trends looking at right now on a macro perspective? And then we can risk mitigate going forward from here. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticket ETH. I'm recording of 9:01 a.m. on Eastern time, currently like $2,335. Basically down about 3.60% so far. Let's take a look at the equity market real quick, just to compare like what's going on here, right? So you can see that pre-market went down a little bit because obviously the negative news from the inflation and obviously with the Amazon's missed the earnings, right? They missed the top line, but the earnings on the EBITDA perspective they actually exceeded in the profitability perspective, but top line revenue they missed. And obviously the consensus is because we are recovering, right? We are recovering, and when you are less likely to stay home because of the more of a tolerance of COVID relief, I guess, right? People are more likely to be going out and going to the beach and not wearing masks. I know in New York, a lot of people are not wearing masks anymore. Like even including on a subway station, which subways are relatively disgusting, if you know, right? If you lived in New York, you know what I'm talking about. So people are being less cautious than ever. So when people are being less cautious, they tend to be going out to be buying groceries again, which I actually enjoy going to supermarkets and stuff like that, right? And less people will be obviously utilizing Amazon's one day shipping, right? Despite how convenient it is, right? So I think the media or Wall Street estimates will probably overestimated it, but obviously it's a good sign, it's a good indicator, right? A rocket doesn't just go up all the way, right? Amazon's, if you look at the chart, has been blowing up like enormously, right? At one point almost hitting 4,000. So that was it was something that was foreshadowed, and I think we expected it, and that's what's going on right now. So we are just normalizing, which is a good thing. We need to cool down for everything to cool down before we next leap up, right? Also on the Nasdaq, we're not as severe, obviously, with respect to the collection or diversifications of the equity stocks that we have in the portfolio in the index here, right? So let's take a look at the Ethereum back again, right? So we are relatively, cooling down right now. You could see that on a MACD perspective, we're crossing slowly. So we do have some sort of a curvature. Again, RSI is still leaning more toward an overbought level, right? And I think based on the chart that we saw from the analyst from Cointelegraph, again, right, that his depictions on $14,000, I think that's likely. I think we should hit at least above $9,000 by 12 months from now. And for us to do that, we need to kind of normalize first, right? So I think the weekend is basically, is doing it right now for us, right? So I think with respect to the current level, we are, we test all the way to the 2,430, but 2,450 is the level of substantive, right? So we never got there, right? If you look at the chart, we never got there. We were almost there, but we were sold off immediately, and that's why you see this red candle, right? Because by that point, we're extremely stretched up, right, on an RSI perspective. So right now, we're just cooling off. Also, Friday is the timing. I think if we were on a different day of the week, we would probably have leaped up a little bit more. But remember, the Friday and weekend can drive some selling pressure across the board. People just want to secure and feel comfortable when they're going on the weekend vacations, if you may, right? So it's just logical, right? But if we didn't, we would have leaped up all the way to 2,450, which is the level that I've told you guys in my comment section, right? And also on the videos as well, right? That's the next leap up. If we broke through the 2,450, the next level will be the 2,750. So it's a relatively different momentum type of trend. It's talk about like a rocket ship blowing up to the next level, to the moon. Almost to the moon. I think to the moon would be like anywhere from like $25,000 in my perspective. But everybody have a different size of the moon, I guess. I don't know if that even make any sense in an analogy perspective. But anyways, so where I see going forward, knowing the fact that the weekend is coming, I think we should be leaping back down to more of a normalized zone, to 2,250. And ideally 2,150, because that would be a very comfortable level. If we go there again, this will be the 28th time of testing this level. And I think buy at this level and hold it for a while. I want to actually buy some this weekend. I really look for a worse red day. I hope we do, because again, right, when the price goes down, the risk is decreasing, not the other way around, right? And we know that the value proposition is going to be massive going forward. We know that the adoption is going to be exponential compared to what we see right now, right? So we're just playing on a macro game. I do believe in this long-term vision for this, and I think genie's out of the box right now, and it's very difficult for you to put the genie back into the lantern anymore. So right now, $2 cost average wisely and hold for a long term, and try to stay away from like swing trading. I get it. Swing trading is like, it's very instant gratification type of feel. I get it, but against an emotional feeling, right? And also you kind of gambling. You have to bet on timing. But if you know how to do the art, read the technical analysis. I do it. I'm relatively okay with technical analysis, but I still want to be holding for a long term, right? Because it's just less stressful, and at the same time you don't have to be always so calculated, right? For you to be to swing trade and have like 97% of success rate all the time, it's even though if you're like a rock star trader, right? I consider myself like an okay trader. I don't want to be too inflating myself. I know just enough for me to get by, but I also know my weaknesses, right? So I think holding long term, that's the safest bet that you can always apply, and that's the most risk averse application at the same time. So something to be mindful of, and that's the way that I would kind of play it for the next couple of days and upcoming London fork. So the London fork, I think we're gonna go down to 2,150 by the time the RSI is gonna cool down, and we should be leaping down, and then we should be ideally forming another cross down here below, right? And by that point, we will have another golden cross, and then the golden cross will be the next leap up, and that's when the rocket will take off from there, based on the historical depictions and the historical trends and how the technical analysis on the MACD and RSI perspective is telling us the story right now. Alright, so just to recap on numbers in technical analysis, again, right, the 2,250, that's a more ideal level to dollar cost average, knowing the fact that we're just kind of hovering between the 2,450 and the 2,250. The levels between the 2,300 is not really a substantive level, it's just more of a flat number. Again, right, people just like to buy at those flat numbers, right? So ideally you want to be waiting off a little bit because the weekend is coming, and I know weekend has already occurred for some countries around the world internationally. So I think waiting for a little bit, practice patient a little bit, allow the technicals to cool down a little bit will be ideal, and that's just the logical play, right? I know people are practicing patience like, oh god, it's like, why is it so static? Why, which way is it going? When is it gonna sell off a little bit more? I know it's like it's both sides of the spectrum, right? But again, these emotions again are not logical, right? And to sustain your emotional bearings, or maintain your sanity, is to look at the resistance levels, look at the risk profile of how the chart is telling you. And do that, you will never be emotional. You can tell that based on the way I speak. I'm never talking about like, oh, let's pump this, oh, let's we are extremely oversold right now. Let's buy right now because of just that pure reason. It's never that binary. Always talk about what is the reason, the logics behind how is what's the causation effect. Let's just put it that way, right? And verify that causation effect, right? And then try to do a little bit more research, do a little bit of digging, see if the numbers ties together, and then apply that into your execution, right? That's how you should typically invest, right? You should really question everything that you see. You should even question why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking, right? Maybe sometimes I'm wrong, right? I'm just applying what I see in front of me without any bias, right? And that's the way that you can speak the language, by just using logics and numbers, right? But with respect to corporate adoption, 9,800, 4.4 times your money if you buy the 2,250. Alright, so this is for today. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum, take ETH. Hopefully this is helpful into understanding how we're going to be trending going forward for the weekend, and also with the expected anticipatory pressure for London forthcoming. So I'm going to be relatively busy today. After this video, I'm going to hop out back to the city. I have 3 consecutive meetings today, meeting with various different people. So it's going to be a long day of speaking and pitching and interacting, if you may. But I should be on my phone, throughout the day. I'm just going to be going around like hotels, to conference rooms, and places like that. So I should be available throughout the day. So reach out if you have any questions. I know that people have been reaching out about Patreons. I'm working on it. It's kind of interesting because I've never so this YouTube thing and this Patreon thing and engaging with people on YouTube has been just extremely rewarding, but it's still relatively new to me. I'm still new to YouTube. I've only been doing this for maybe a month so far, right? And I'm so happy that I've had this support that I've gained from you guys so far. I also want to gain your trust. I want to be thoughtful about, you know, the right contents to provide for you guys. But at the same time, I do have a full-time job that I'm working on, multiple jobs that I have at the same time, so my time is limited. But I really appreciate you for supporting me, and I'll make sure that I'll get something out to you guys soon. But let me work through it before I feel confident into it first, because I don't want to be giving you guys anything that's, you know, just fluff. I want to give you guys something substantive that's user friendly, at the same time that you can apply and use it to educate yourself, but also can use that to leverage to help other people at the same time, right? So it's more than just like kind of stuffing stuff down your throat, and hope for the best type of thing, right? You know what I'm trying to say? But I really appreciate you, and stay tuned for things coming up. Take care. Bye.